Good evening. I am coming to you to read the paired passage assignment that you will have for Wednesday, April 29th. Okay, so this is what you'll do for ELA on Wednesday. Um, I'm going to do what I've done the first two times, kind of go over the questions first, and then read the passages for you. Notice on the passages and on the questions, I did kind of underline and box some key words that you might look for and that might help you as you complete this assignment. So pay attention for those as you go. Okay? So the first thing I want to do, so we have a focus for what we're reading about, is go over the questions. Okay? So I'm going to start with the page 58. It's unit 13. It should be your second page in your stapled sheet. And we're starting with number one, multiple choice question. It says, which answer is not true? Okay, so what that means is three of those choices are going to be true or factual. One of those choices will not be true. Okay, so you're looking for the answer that is not factual or not true. Okay, number two. I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but a herpetologist would least likely study what? Okay, and it's going to give you four different animals there. Okay, so based on what it says about a herpetologist, which one of those animals would the herpetologist least likely study? So probably three of those animals are going to be somewhat similar or have something similar about them, more so than one of the other ones. So really look carefully for how you could kind of organize those different animals, and one should kind of be a little bit more different from the other three. Okay. Number three. What do both stories have in common? So that means it's gonna be, you're comparing them kind of. So how are they both similar? What are they both talking about in the passages? Okay, so that's number three. Number four, here's some characters in the passage. Dudley and Duplex would be least likely to fight over what? Okay, and then it lists four things. So which of those four things would they be least likely to fight over based on what you know about Dudley and Duplex? And I'm going to assume that Dudley and Duplex are snakes. So what would those two snakes be least likely to fight over? And then number five. From the stories, one can tell that Alexander what? Okay, so there are going to be four choices there, and they're all starting out actually with did not live. So there's going to be one place there that's going to be pretty clear that Alexander did not live in. So based on the details from the passage, how can you figure out which one of those four places he definitely did not live in? Okay, so that's the first page of questions. Second page, number 6, says explain the numbers in the story True Snake Tales. So there's going to be 5 different numbers there, and kind of look back in the passage to find those numbers, and then tell why those numbers were important, okay, or what they mean in the passage. Okay, so look back for those numbers and tell kind of why they're important or what they mean. Next one, number 7 says, think about when things happened and where rattlesnakes slither. List some of the things that happened at each of the different times. So you're going to think about the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story. What were some things that happened in each one of those parts of the story? Okay. Then your last two questions, number 8 and 9, are just summaries. So it says write 3 or more sentences. I'd say keep it between 3 and 5, and you're just kind of summarizing what each passage is about. Okay, remember, one of them is going to be nonfiction or factual. The other one is going to be fictional or just a story that wasn't necessarily true. Okay. Number 10, if you want to do number 10, you can, but you do not have to. That one is optional. So you can go ahead and read that one, and if you think that sounds cool, you can go ahead and do it. Without further ado, though, I'm going to go ahead and start reading the passages. First, the one on page 56, which is non-fiction or factual. Okay? So, that one said, or the title of that one is True Snake Tales. Snakes are reptiles found on every continent except Antarctica. They are found in a variety of habitats, including wetlands, forests, and prairies. Habitats include deserts and cities, too. Most snakes live on or under the ground, but some live in trees or water. In all, there are over 2,700 different types of snakes. That's a lot of different types of snakes. Only about 400 kinds of snakes are poisonous, and less than 50 of the poisonous snakes are really dangerous to humans. So even though there's a lot of different kinds of snakes, we kind of always, a lot of people are scared of snakes because they think they're poisonous and things, but really there's not very many of them that truly are that dangerous. On rare occasions, snakes are born with two heads. When this happens, each head acts like a separate snake. At times, the two heads will fight over food. The heads will bite at each other until one wins out. The two heads of one snake in the San Diego Zoo used to fight over when to explore and when to sleep. One head, Dudley, would try to curl up and sleep, while Duplex, the other head, would want to explore. The longest snakes are reticulated pythons. Reticulated pythons are found in Asia. One reticulated python measured 32 feet 9.5 inches, or 10 meters. The heaviest snakes are anacondas. Anacondas are found in South America. One anaconda weighed 600 pounds, or in other words, 272 kilograms. That is heavy. Snakes are carnivores. They eat meat, swallowing their prey whole, but some snakes eat eggs too. Egg-eating snakes have a series of sharp bones high up inside their throats. The bones cut open the eggs so the slippery insides can continue down the throat, while the inedible shells are pushed back out of the snake's mouth. Okay, so there you learned a little bit more about snakes. That's all factual information about snakes. Now we're going to move on to the fictional story here. And this one is called Where Rattlesnakes Slither. When Alexander grew up, he wanted to be a herpetologist. Herpetology is the study of reptiles and amphibians. Herpetologists study animals like snakes and frogs. Alexander especially liked snakes. Whenever Alexander could, he would look for snakes to catch and examine. Often, he would take them home and keep them for a few days before releasing them. One day, Alexander caught 7 baby rattlesnakes. He put them in a cardboard box, secured the box with a tight lid, and carried them home. To his surprise, his mother refused to let him keep them. "Put that box in the back seat and get in the car," she said. "You're going to donate your rattlesnakes to the zoo. I don't want poisonous snakes slithering around anywhere close to home." Alexander's mother parked the car close to the zoo. She cautioned Alexander to be careful as he carried the box into the herpetology house. The zoo herpetologist said, "I'll get a cage ready for them as soon as I can." Alexander felt his day couldn't get worse after having to give up his rattlesnakes. But then it did. When he and his mother returned back to where they had left their car, they found it wasn't there. It had been stolen. As Alexander's mother took out her cell phone to call the police, it began to ring. It was the zoo herpetologist. "Ma'am," he said. "The box was empty. Most likely, the rattlesnakes are slithering around somewhere in your car." "Really?" said Alexander's mother. So it sounds like people stole their car and probably didn't realize that there were rattlesnakes crawling around in it. So that would be interesting to see how that turned out. So that is your fictional passage about the rattlesnakes. Um, so don't be afraid to go back and look at the passages to help you answer the questions. Once again, I will try to put a Google form on your Google Classroom if you would rather answer the questions there than on the paper, but you are welcome to do either one, whichever one you would like to do. Okay? So I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I don't know, I guess have a great day.